Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Caitlin and today I've got a time-lapse video for you with some commentary along the way. This is my first time making the Guardian backpack by Linds Handmade, so I didn't want to film like a full video for it since I didn't know exactly what I was doing when I was sewing it, and I'm glad I didn't because I had some struggles. So for the main fabric, I'm using a quilting cotton from Joann, and I've interfaced each piece with SF101, and then on the front panel I interfaced and then put a layer of foam. The lining is waterproof canvas, and then there's a pocket with the same exterior fabric. I just left it open as one big pocket. And then the glitter vinyl is from My Punk Embroidery, and the handle straps are from my Handmade space. So some comments before we start. This piece, I wish I would have interfaced it with something a little sturdier because I do not like the way it looks when it's zipped up. It's hard to tell on camera, but it's really like wrinkledy and wavy just because there's not enough structure there. So that is one thing I would change. I don't know if I'll make this again. I like the idea of it, but like I put it on and I really don't like the 1.5 inch straps. They do not sit on me very well. And these are like right in my armpit, and they're like really uncomfortable. I think 1 inch would have been better for me personally, but that's just my own crazy thinking. And then I also did the connectors, which this was my first time doing this too, and I think they turned out really well. And I did the shoulder strap, which again I don't really love. It just does not sit on my shoulder good. My handle is also crooked. It may be hard to tell, but it's definitely crooked in person. But anyways, let's get to it, and I'll show you all of the mistakes I made and how I corrected them and how I would correct them again in the future. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you. So I'm starting off with the connectors for the shoulder strap and also the backpack straps, and I just cut it out as the pattern said as one long piece, and I cut this at half of the width since I am using a pretty thick vinyl here. So I just folded it over once toward the middle and then cut them into 4 equal parts, and then I just followed exactly what the pattern said to do for these connectors. There's not really much to say about this part right here. I'd never done this before, so it was kind of a learning curve for me. But I did try to follow the pattern as much as possible. There are a few things that I did change that I'll show when we get to them. And now I'm moving on to the side pockets that go on to those pieces that we just put the connectors onto. And my machine did not like sewing the layers, the thin layers of fabric here. It kind of bunched up, but I did try to pull at the seam and it helped a little bit. But for the future, I'm definitely going to put a little thicker interfacing on the cotton pieces. I think if I did a canvas, then the SF101 would have been fine, but on the quilting cotton, I definitely want a thicker interfacing. Next up is the handle, the grab handle, and I'm using the 1.5 inch webbing from my Handmade space and just following the pattern for this step. And we are moving on to the interior pocket now. Again, wish I had thicker interfacing, and I'm just going to leave this as one big open pocket instead of doing the dividers. So I thought this was gonna be like the trickiest part, getting this zipper around the curved pattern piece right here, but it was actually a whole lot easier than I thought it was gonna be, and I feel like everything went pretty smooth. I did start from the center and sew out that way, and then I sewed back up the other way, and it worked really well. So I would definitely do that again next time. Overall, I wish this piece wasn't so wavy. I don't think it's the way I installed the zipper either. I think it's just there was not enough structure on this pattern piece. So definitely would change that next time, but overall I'm really happy with how this piece went together. So to top stitch around the outside of the zipper, I just got my lining piece and exterior piece and clipped them all together so I didn't have to worry about the lining piece folding up under and catching it in the top stitch, and that seemed to work really well. So for the front panel, I was going to just baste that foam piece on the back, but it ended up scrunching so bad because my machine did not like the thinness of it. So I decided to unpick that, and then I got my spray baste out and just put a layer on the foam and then put the fabric down on top, and then I sewed my label on after that. And I must have cut my foam wrong because I did have to trim down a little bit at the top. And right here, I did mark out where the straps are supposed to go, but I did not pay attention and I put it in the wrong spot. So I sewed it incorrectly on the first one and then sewed it right on the second one. And then I just went back and unpicked the first one and re-sewed it. So right here I was top stitching the exterior part only, and I forgot to check to make sure that the lining was out of the way, and it wasn't, so I had to go back and unpick that and re-sew it. Okay, so this is where I did not follow the pattern. I watched Lauren Mormino and Brittany from the Imperium, their videos on the Guardians, and they both made theirs where they did not sew the handle to the exterior and the interior, and that just makes it easier when you're sewing it all together in the end. So I just decided to do the same thing. I didn't want to fight with it anymore than I already was. So that's what I did here, and I like the outcome The only thing is you have to be careful if you're not using waterproof canvas for the lining. It could be baggy with it not being attached at the top, but I haven't noticed any bagginess of the interior since I did use the waterproof canvas. The thing that I would change here though in the future is making sure that I have the handles lined up correctly, because one is off-centered and it bugs me. It's not easy to tell. Like if you didn't know, then I don't think you'd be able to notice it, but it bothers me. And sewing these side panels on gave me the most trouble. I should have read the directions better, where she said she bastes on the top part just to keep it from shifting around. I did do that on the second one though, but on this one I had so much trouble around that top curve. I did end up fixing it in the end by sewing it the other way with the exterior of the bag, or the front and the back of the bag on the top instead of having that side piece on the top, and that helped fix that. But it was hard to get around that curve, but definitely basting it first helped on the second one. So on this one, I did go ahead and baste that top piece, and then I decided to sew from that top piece out to the bottom and then come back up on the other side, and that seemed to work really well. So right here I did get ahead of myself and tried to go ahead and clip the base on to get it ready to sew, and did not realize that I didn't have the lining finished yet. So I had to take that off and then sew the sides on the lining pieces. Now that I have my lining completely sewn together like it should be, I just flipped the bag the wrong side out, and now I can attach the base on to all of those pieces. I did go ahead and baste around the bag just so that nothing would shift on me. Once I got the base sewn on, I did go ahead and turn it the right side out just to make sure that I caught everything and that everything looks good. And it did, so I went ahead and flipped it back wrong side out and used binding to finish off the bag. I did run out of thread halfway through, so there's like white thread on part of it on the bottom, but you can't even tell whenever the bag's finished. Alright, all that's left now is to finish the backpack straps off and the shoulder strap. So for the backpack straps, I just folded that end under and did 2 lines of stitching. And for the shoulder strap, I just followed the directions exactly for that. And I love how it turned out. I love the little vinyl accents on the bottom where it attaches to the clasps. I think that really looks nice. So overall, I do like this bag. I think with the few changes, like the stabilizer would make it better for me personally, and also the straps being thinner. My husband did try it on and he said that it works for him, so he will probably be the one to carry it on our vacation, which is fine with me, but I might make it again. I know I said I probably wouldn't, but I might make it again with the different straps and stabilizers, and we'll see how that goes. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see y'all on the next one.